Hi everyone, John Day here. In lockdown, I suppose, like everybody else is around the world, trying to deal with the situation. I've been very, very busy adapting to providing training courses to people from home rather than in classrooms. So it's been a bit of a hectic few weeks dealing with that. And on top of that, dealing with people that have been pushed into an Office 365 environment that they've not really had much training or experience with, to then be able to deal with it isolated at home. So I think everybody's under that sort of circumstance, and that's also a reason why I've not been able to do videos for a while. So it's just been a bit of an issue. So what I decided, because I'm doing this real world scenario where I'm building an Office support area for users to come in and ask questions and help each other out, I thought, while I'm doing it, why not record videos and record the process of me building this real world scenario while building it for the environment it needs. So I'm going to take you through, there's about 3 parts to start with that's around Microsoft Teams. So I'm going to be building the team environment. And the way that I do my environments is I sort of plan the environment, I then provision, and then I promote the actual team. And that's how I do it with all kinds of teams that I build, whatever the purpose is. This is going to be a user support team, so it's going to be packed with loads of features, and it's going to incorporate a lot of stuff coming in from Forms, Planner, OneNote, Power Automate, Power Apps. It's going to be a whole caboodle, and I want to share that journey with you so that you can extract from this anything you find useful that you can use in your team's environments or elsewhere. So this episode is all about planning the Microsoft team. We're going to create it, we're going to sort of set it up and get it ready to match around the governance and the planning around the users that are going to use it. So I'm going to be looking at that first. So that's going to involve us looking at creating the team and then looking at the team settings and just getting things ready. So hopefully this won't be a big video. Episode 2 will be about the provisioning, a bit bigger. So we need to show you everything in here about how we're going to get it planned first. Let's take a look at what we're going to do. Okay, so I'm going to create a Microsoft team environment, but I'm going to do this twice. So I'm going to demonstrate this in an enterprise license. I'm also going to do this in an academic license because there's a slight difference in when you create the team. After that, pretty much everything I do is irrelevant to whether I'm using an enterprise or an academic license. So let me just show you that first of all. So first of all, in the bottom left corner, you can see on an enterprise license, the join or create team sits down the bottom left corner of the screen there. So I'm going to give that a click. Boxes come up to allow me to create a team. I can even join an existing one. I'm going to click create team. And you can see I can either build one from scratch, which is what I'm going to do. I can actually use an existing team and use that as a sort of a template, providing me a starting block. I'm going to build a team from scratch. And here I've got the option to choose a private, public, or organization wide. So private is I choose the owners and members that can join the team. I can also allow other people to join the team, but it will require me to grant them permission, so I have to accept the pending requests as it is. Public team allows me to throw it open so that if you want to join, you're in, that's it. Then you've got everyone in the organization automatically joins, so whether you like it or not, you're already in. So it automatically adds onto your team list rather than you go in and join it at a later date. So I'm going to do a public one. I would like it to be a public environment. I want people with the freedom to join it as and when they want. But I'm going to start private. And the reason is, while I'm building the team, I don't want anyone in there until it's ready to be launched. So I'll mark it as private to begin with, and then I'll make it public later. That's kind of a good tip if you're building an environment that needs to be sort of provisioned first. Okay, so I would like this to be, for want of a better name, I couldn't think of anything, but I would like to use Microsoft Office User Support Environment. But it's a bit of a mouthful. And the most important thing is when you're creating objects in Office 365, and this applies to Teams, this applies to SharePoint areas, file names, etc., libraries and lists. When you're building the objects, just consider using a shorter name first, because it sticks to that like super glue. and then you can rename it cosmetically. I'm going to give you an example right now. Instead of calling it that, which is a bit of a mouthful, I'm going to give it the name mouse. So I'm using the words as an acronym there. And inside the description, I'll type in, paste the full name of that. Used for providing knowledge and support. I can tidy that description up when I come up with better wording. The other thing I'm thinking of is if I'm opening it up public, I might let people know this exists in an email, whatever. Weeks, months later, they'll forget the link, can't find it, now search for it, and they might not know what it's called, they might not know the right keywords. So when you're building sites and teams like this, add a load of keywords that when they search will make your team pop up in the results. So things I haven't used, I've got all the office support environment. Let's do training or train, learn. And you just need to put a space between the words. And you don't really need to capitalize. I get in the habit terribly of capitalizing things, and I don't need to with the keywords. So train, learn, help, guide, and then I could type in the applications that they're going to be learning about. So I could put in forms. Now this is progressive. You can build those words on later on as you find them, but it's kind of that taxonomy that's really useful, so that when they type in those words, your team comes up in the results, which is fantastic. So there you go, and I'm going to click create. Great. And for the power of video, if things get too long to build, I will pause so you'll have to see it. Now you're provided with this environment. I'm going to skip this for now. With Microsoft Teams, your files that you have in each channel that then goes into the Files tab at the top there is sitting in a SharePoint site. Whether you like it or not, SharePoint lives with Teams. It sits there and has a symbiotic relationship when it comes to the files. So if I go into the Files tab of any channel, it doesn't matter, and click Open in SharePoint, you can see I'm now in the SharePoint site called Mouse. If I go into SharePoint now and go into the site information, so the synchronization has worked, it just hasn't kicked in yet to the heading there. Well, let's see, we'll probably give that, there we go, just needed a bit of tweaking. Given it a few hours, that probably would have worked on its own. But notice I changed the title, made it much lengthier, but this is the reason why I created the name short and sweet in Teams to begin with. That's the web address, and what we want to consider with web addresses, URLs, is to keep them as short as possible. Excellent. Now I've just created a team using the enterprise license. How does that work in an academic one? So I'm now inside a totally different environment. So in here, this is academic. So you'll notice that the join and create a team option is no longer there. It's actually sitting in the top right corner. Very confusing to begin with. So I'm going to give that a click. But I'm going to click the create team as normal. But the difference is when you're in an academic one, you'll get some team types. Now there's not a major amount of difference in these. What used to be the case is when you created like a class one, instead of owner and member, you got something like lecturer and student, or teacher and student. So there were different types, had different sort of background buildings, and it would provide some extra tabs like a notebook or something attached to OneNote. If you are going to do like I'm building and want to represent the one that I was doing in the enterprise license, click other. Because what that does is it gives you the same box that I had before. It's marked as private as before, but you can switch between private and public. The org wide is only certain people can have an org wide, so don't worry about the org wide. In the team name, again, I'm just going to put in their mouse just as an example. I just really want to show you that when I've done this in the academic license, pretty much looks the same. So there it is. I'm going to add no one, so I'm going to skip that. And there you go. So it's got the same sort of setup. I've got a general channel, I've got the post tab, I've got the files tab. The only thing of difference that exists there is in the enterprise you get a wiki. But like any of these facilities, if I don't have the wiki there, I can add a wiki. There is a wiki option that you can build in, and it sits in the background. So I can actually build that in my academic one as well. Okay, so that's the only difference, is that it just doesn't have the wiki. You could build that. I'm going to talk about the wiki on the provisioning, which is the second episode. But at the moment, there is my mouse, there's my general channel, and I'm now going to just set up the environment between myself and the colleagues. So first of all, let's observe what we have in Teams and what things we would like to turn off and turn on. So we've got channels. If you're new to Teams, and I want to take advantage of this, if you are new to Teams, what is a team? What is a channel? A team is an environment where we can sort of place a central area where we can grab everything we need to get that team done, to actually work with ourselves as a team. So you're not looking at different services and hopping back and forth between your OneDrive, your email, and so on and so forth. You have your lovely team, which I would consider like a building. And then when you walk into the building, the first room you stop into is the, whoops, that's not a square, John. You stop into a general room. Okay, so the general room is like the reception areas where you walk into. Now, think of it from the Office 365 user support environment that I'm doing here. If everyone was going to ask questions about how do I do this in OneDrive, how do I do this in Forms, how do I do this in Teams, how do I do this in SharePoint, if we all put them in one channel, the conversations that you see would completely exponentially grow, and it would be hard to manage and look after the things that you're interested in. If I wanted to share files with you about how to do something in OneDrive, how to run a meeting in Teams, having them all in one files tab again would be completely overwhelming. So the idea of having channels is to break the environment of the team down into areas where we can concentrate and keep on the same sort of topic of conversation. So in my respect, what I'm going to be doing is providing channels for things like OneDrive, and the idea is that you can go into the OneDrive. I'm going to ignore the lowercase o. I might talk about or provide an area for SharePoint. So you would go into that channel and you would ask questions about that, knowing that there'll be experts or people that love that particular tool that will be happy to help you and answer your questions. So it breaks it down into different areas. So one, I would want to create my channels, and I'll do that under the provisioning. Just do one for example. So I'm going to go in there and do the OneDrive. Thank you. And I'm going to leave this as a standard privacy. I'm going to talk about what standard and private channels are in the provision, second episode. Click add. And that now provides a new channel ready for people to use. Okay, but as you see, as I go to each channel, you'll notice that the tabs at the moment, I get a post, which is where we have conversations. You get the files one for files, the wiki. I will show you again in the provisioning later what that does. Now, a couple of things. One, I would add more tabs around each topic. So there might be some videos I want to show with the OneDrive and the SharePoint channels, but not the general. The general channel might want a tab pointing to some news and some updates. That will be in a SharePoint site. So this is what I'm doing at this level, is I'm planning, okay, what is it that I'm doing this for? What's the benefit? Why am I creating this team? And am I going to be looking at what people need and not what I think they need? So it is all about that two-way system. And the other thing I'm thinking is, do I want the users creating these channels? Because they might, with all good intent, might say, like, I need some questions answered about this, and they'll create the channel for it, and then it all might encompass other people into it. But if someone goes into the team mouse and adds a channel, and let's say they want a channel for PowerPoint. Now, eventually, I'm going to have a whole load of different sort of channels, different topics. Someone might not see the PowerPoint and create one with a space. Some might create PowerPoint with a hyphen. Some people might create it and put it as PPT. I might have 3 or 4 channels all pointing to the same topic, and then we've broken and fractured our group already. So I don't want that to happen. I don't want people to be driving the terminology based on their own folksonomy. I want it to be sort of more about the case of how we should be correctly doing it. So I'm going to turn off the ability for them to create channels. Don't worry, not being horrible. What I'm going to do instead is I'm going to create a little button they can click on where they can request a channel, and I'll have a Power Automate that will raise that to my owners. We will approve it, and then the Power Automate will automatically create the channel. So it's all done in one nice seamless environment. That would be one of the later episodes. Watch out for that one. So for now, let's carry on. Let's go into the team environment, go into manage team, And what I want to do is I want to plan how I want the users to work and respond within this. So the first thing I'm going to do in the planning is set up the settings. Yes, there's a team picture, really not important. I'll worry about that later. That'll be sort of like in my promotional stage, my third stage. What I do want to do is I want to go in and look at the members' permissions. Now it looks like I'm going to be very restrictive, but the golden rule to this is, and like anything in Office 365, if you're not sure of its capabilities, turn it off, because there's nothing worse than having an environment where you've enabled something but you don't know how to control it, and therefore it spirals out of control. So I don't want to allow members to create their own channels and update them. I don't want them to create private ones, but if they can't create a regular channel, they can't create private ones anyway. If you've never heard of private channels, it's a way of creating a channel that you can choose specific owners and members that are in the team already to have access to it. So if I can't give them the ability to create channels, they naturally can't create private ones, but that's fine. Allow members to delete and restore channels. No, that'd be even worse if I gave them that power, not to create them. Allow members to add and remove apps. I'm going to look, again, this is an example of, I'm going to build some apps. I'm going to show you how to do that in a moment. But if I don't know what that means, turn it off until you do know. And then you can enable it and add in there. We've now added the ability to work with apps. And that comes as like a positive that you are growing it rather than then turning it off later, which kind of looks negative. Allow members to upload custom apps, definitely not, because some of them we don't know where they've come from, so we'll look at that again, we'll manage that ourselves. Allow members to create, update and remove tabs. See, on certain channels, I would like them to be able to add tabs to pointing to things like maybe they've got some links coming from other sites they want to share. I'm thinking of the governance side of this, and I'm thinking, well, I don't really know or understood this fully yet. I haven't planned about that circumstance, so maybe I'll turn it off and turn it on later, and it will look like a positive addition when the time is right. Allow members to create and update and remove connectors. No, I'll tell you what, if you haven't used connectors, it looks like I'm restricting like crazy, but I'm not. At the end of the day, what I'm going to do is I'm going to provide a nice manageable way, a governable way of allowing users to do this, where we can approve it, hopefully. So yeah, that's a great idea. Let's put that in there, guys. Thanks for that. And then put it on. If we want them to have an experimentational environment, we can always create another team and sell about it as like a workspace, a work area that they can go and practice this stuff and turn everything on. But in this live environment for management, I don't want that to happen. Give members the options to delete their messages, definitely. The idea is to give them the ability to sort of work with their own communication, feel comfortable about communicating with each other, and edit and delete those messages where applicable, definitely. I'm not going to work about guest permissions. Guests are external users in Teams, and because we haven't enabled it in our tenancy, nothing I can do about it anyway. But if we did, and the time was right, the good thing is they'll be disabled, allowing me to modify them when possible. Mentions. So you can mention a person by putting an @ sign and then their name. You can also mention the name of the team and the channel. I would like them to mention the channel. I think that would be really useful to say, okay, anyone at SharePoint, please help me. I need an answer to this question. But I find that a lot of people will do that just to grab everyone's attention to something they think is important to the world. And that's just the attitude we sometimes we want to sort of grab everyone's attention. We'll use a shout to all. It's kind of like the reply to all in many respects. So with the channel, that could be really useful, and I would like to encourage that, but not the team. Hi team, I've just added a file for SharePoint. Well, if you want to tell people, put it in SharePoint and then tell the SharePoint channel. So I'm going to turn the team one off, but it's only members. This doesn't affect owners. This affects the members and what they can or cannot do. You have a team code. The only time we ever use these is public and organisation wide, so we really promote. Oh, by the way, you can get to our channel. If you haven't seen it before, here's a nice quick code you can type in and join it rather than a link. So you can do that. You can use it for private as well. Fun stuff. Oh, now you've got these GIFs, you've got the stickers, memes. These are the funny things. If you've never seen these before, we go and quickly go into the general channel. And the idea is you go to GIF, you can see you've got these funny stuff. If we go to the stickers, you've got memes and stuff. Now, these are great. If we have an international wide tenancy and we've got staff from all over the world, I would say be considerate about this, because what might be funny in one culture, one country, could be considered offensive or sort of not understood in another, and it loses all point of meaning of using it in the first place. So I tend to turn them off. Emojis are still important because they sort of explain the context in which a message has been put, so that people don't read it out of context. They don't look at it as an aggressive or offensive when it could be deliberately put as a humorous or sort of a light-hearted sort of communication. Tags. Who can add tags? And this is about creating tags, not using them and mentioning them in conversations. So at the moment, by default, it's owners only, but I could allow other members to create tags as well. What are tags, you may ask? In case you've never seen this before, I'll give you a quick demo. So if I go into the general channel, I have at the moment got owners of this Office user support, and I've got members. I might want a group of people to look at a specific role. I might want some moderators that will be called upon by staff if they need them. But they're also, their duty would be to look at the content and make sure people are being considerate with the way they word their conversations. So I can create those tags, and they feel and look like groups, but they're basically mentionable names. So if I go to the mouse team name there and click manage tags, okay, I'm going to create a tag, and the tag name will be moderators. Now the only thing is, I can only add people that are already in the owners and members, so they have to be existing users. So at the moment, the only person I could possibly have, if they exist, is me. But what I'll do is, I've got Barry. Barry's one of my colleagues. He's going to be an owner, and I'm also going to have Amanda. Amanda's our HR manager, and she's going to be a moderator as well. But I'll add them as and when the time is right. So here, I'm just going to add me. So the idea now is, if anyone has any concerns, anyone has any questions, I could have had a tag for gurus. So I could have a tag for Office 365 gurus. These are the people that are experts across everything. So I could add that. And you'll notice though, the downside is I don't want to add me. I would like to add some other people. But you can't create a tag until you have got at least one person that can represent that tag. You can't mention something if no one's there to respond to the mentioned tag. So just a little note that we can create them, but you need to have at least one person in there to do that. That's okay. So let's have a look and see what we've got now. So when I go into the conversation, I can say hi there @, and I can go in and I can specify can't do mouse. Remember, I turned that off, so the team name's gone. But I can specify the general channel and the other channels, and now I can also specify the moderators. So what happens is, anyone who's a moderator will have an activity in the top left hand corner with the little red circle that they see with a number of new activities, and then they will click in there and they can see that they've been mentioned via their tag. Great. So it doesn't give them any more power, doesn't give them any sort of functionality. I can tag that tag of people and use them in the context of that, so that's really useful. In members, you can add your members. Please note that I would only use this if I wanted to keep track and make sure that their other information besides their owner or member rights is, so I can see that I'm a moderator as well, and this one place is great for all that information. If I wanted to add members, you can, in many respects, use the ellipsis to the right of the team and channel to do quick processing of things. So I could have added a member here. So that box that I see with that is the same as that. It does exactly the same thing. It just depends on where conveniently you're working from. So I'm going to add Barry into this list, and I'm going to add Amanda. And I'm also going to add Gail. Now Gail I'm going to put in as a member, so that she can be there as a test person. Someone who's testing what the member sees before I launch my team and make it available to everybody, make it live. But Amanda I'm going to promote up to owner, and Barry I'll promote up to owner. So the adding of people and adding as owners is kind of on a promotional, demotional basis. So I can promote them up to owner. If I want to get rid of them, I have to demote them to member first before I see the cross on the right to remove them. So it's just a kind of a good way of making sure that they go up and down the chain, so I don't accidentally click the cross of an owner and cause problems. So Amanda and Barry are my owners, and Gal is a member of the team, and she's my test member, if you like. Click close, and there we go. So I can see that I've now got myself as a moderator. Now that I've got myself in there, I'm going to put Barry in as a moderator as well. So if I can go into the ellipsis there, as you saw, manage tags. Very conveniently from this list, I can click that little manage tags button, and it gives me the same box. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to go in there and say I'd like to add you to the moderators. Very convenient, very quick. Okay, Barry's also a guru, so I can also add him and create a brand new tag name. I'll call it Mouse Guru. I'm going to create a new tag. So I'm going to click create new tag, and automatically Barry becomes a Mouse Guru as well as a moderator. There we go. So as well as the building of a team and looking at the settings, hopefully I've thrown in a few little tips and tricks that you could consider doing when it comes to building your teams as well. Second episode after this one is going to be about provisioning it, so sort of providing all the essential environment that we need to get it started before it goes live. And I'm going to be adding some extra bits and bobs in there, some extra features that you can then use inside your team environment. I'm also going to be launching into some extra stuff that will be done as additional videos, like creating forms, working with the SharePoint environment, building booking systems, going crazy. So hopefully you can enjoy these and get some thoughts out of this. If you find anything that you think would like to be really good to show, if you think that you would like to see in a solution like this, please use the social media connections I've got there. My YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, everything that's there, please use that. It's fantastic. But more so than I've ever said before, really important, please stay safe. Don't inject yourself with disinfectant. Contrary to what anyone says, it's not really wise at all. Stay safe, have fun.